I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! Back with the MMA Analysis podcast. It's been a while, but we are back. We're in swing. We got a lot to talk about. We're here. Let's start with the Sodsman. I know you're a happy camper after last week's fight card. How you doing?
Well, it's been a little longer than a week. But...
Okay, but it feels like it.
The last fight card, yeah.
The last UFC fight card. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll probably touch on it a little bit. Yeah, good to be back, man. I think a few weeks ago might have been a top 5 MMA Twitter moment, like night kind of thing, man. It's one of those nights that I think Twitter was perfectly made for, man. I mean, there was just some of the best content that you'll ever see, dude. It's a pretty good night.
We got tallest Canadian ever, New Sean.
I am doing
How is
well,
everything?
Jay. Everything is
You're doing
good.
well?
I mean, summer's kind of over. It's a pretty sad day because
Summer ended like in May, so
it's back to the abyss and it's about to start snowing. So it's good times. But yeah, it's a good time of year. Football's heating up. We got the U.S. Open for tennis and hockey and basketball are just around the corner. It's a good time to be a sports fan.
Yes, it is.
yes, it is. We got college football in the swing of things. That's right, good old fashioned tennis. It's hot as hell at the U.S. Open when I went earlier this week, but and I saw 2 Americans lose, which
So you're the jinx.
I am the jinx.
Yeah, and then one goes through tonight when he's not there.
Yeah,
he gets through tonight.
and so did Serena. So yeah, it was brutal. I'm bad luck. Let's start off with last week's fight card. We had 13 fights. It looks like.
Good card. It was
card. I saw most of it. I was on vacation, so I did miss some of the earlier fights. But we'll take you through them. We had Luke Sanders once again being submitted by a guy he shouldn't have lost to, Ani Yahya, via heel hook of all things in the first round. My biggest bet of the night, Drew Dober, winning a wide decision over John Tuck. It amazes me that John Tuck continues to be valued. It must be because I don't even know why at this point. Is he a lab product?
I think he used to be. I'm not sure.
He used to be, I think. That might tell you something. Too much chicken parm.
Yeah.
And then the other preliminary fight, I did not see the submission, but I heard it was pretty sweet. Joanne Calderwood getting back in action. The hype train's starting to build on her again. You know what that means. Submission triangle armbar over Kalindra Faria. We'll start with Wes. Thoughts on these Fight Pass prelims?
Yeah, getting Yahya at like even money against Mook Sanders. It's like one of the that guy is literally like one of the best fades in MMA. It's insane. Like some of the lines,
man.
He's just an idiot. He's just not smart, dude.
He just puts himself in bad situations.
Yep, he is. He's just not a smart fighter whatsoever, dude.
I feel like there's an alternate reality where he's like the number 8 bantamweight in the UFC currently.
With his skills, he should be around.
Only in an alternate reality.
Yeah.
If he didn't get submitted that first time when he got submitted, I feel like he never would have been submitted in these other fights, and he just would have roll people. That's what I think. I mean, it's really weird how that happened. It's like him and Scoggins, like they both had these like this
Captain Bed Shitters.
Yeah, exactly. They love getting submitted. It's creepy, but yeah, this is where we're at. All right.
Yeah, it's wild considering the athleticism and skills that guy has, because you can see it, but you just know what's going to happen. I was with you on Dober there. That was I don't know how Tuck keeps getting fights, man. And then
You should be
Carter Wood was Carter Wood with a nice sub. I'm hoping that the hype train fires back up and maybe she's a plus or minus 300 or 400 against somebody in the near future, and I'll probably fade her again.
New Sean, what are your thoughts there?
Dodged a bullet. Good thing that the goes the distance was like, I don't know, what was it, minus 400, minus 500 on the old Calderwood. So yeah, did not get fucked by that. So that was good. Didn't have any bets on the prelims, but they were pretty fun fights.
Does anyone think the mailman could beat the Joker?
No, not a chance now.
He's not my favorite mailman either. He's no Cliff, but whatever.
That's outstanding.
Anyway, all right. So prelim TV portion of the card, the return of Mickey Gall, CM Punk's Overlord, another first round submission win over the ghost of George Sullivan. There were some people that were on George Sullivan. Yep, I don't think. I didn't realize New Sean was one of them. I wasn't trying to mock him, but there were others that were a little more prominent. And yeah. Anyway, Andrew Sanchez won a third round of a fight to win a UFC fight. Wow. This might have been the surprise of the card, guys.
He still looked pretty fucking rough. Don't get it wrong, dude. He still looked rough as hell.
Corey Sandhagen, TKO win over the Brazilian,
ridiculous
now longer
fight
on the Jews, Yuri Alcantara. And I guess the biggest underdog winner on the card, James Krause, getting arguably the biggest win of his career. Pretty stunning TKO over the Warley one. Wes, we'll start there. I know your thoughts on. I know you're a Warley guy. Tough loss for him, huh?
Yeah, and especially considering this is the only fight that I got wrong on the entire card. Making moves up the Tout Master leaderboard. I'm literally like, I think 4 points out of first or something. Shameless plug, but yeah, this is the only fight I got wrong. I actually thought it was going to be a close fight. Warley is one of the few sides or anything that I didn't have a bet on this card, just because I was just a tiny bit worried. I didn't see this happening though, especially after how the fight started, because Warley looked pretty good, early into the fight. But yeah, man, that's a huge win for James Krause, man, and I'm happy for the dude, man. He seems like a really good dude from everything I've read and seen. So yeah, happy for him. Big win for James Krause. Yeah, probably his biggest win.
Yeah, I'll say Krause, I think, is kind of athletically, I think he's limited, but he seems to be one of the smarter fighters. Yes, he always has a pretty effective game plan. He doesn't throw away fights. He's definitely an overachiever, and not a guy you generally like to bet against. So, smart move by some folks taking a little bit of a shot and getting the hit. New Sean, thoughts on the prelims?
Yeah, I took a half-unit shot on old George Sullivan right before the fight, and it was gone. And it was gone in a minute.
Man, Gall is really legit on the mat, man.
Yeah, on the mat is legit.
Get it there.
I can't really fade him if he's going to be able to get to the guy to the mat, because Sullivan was like a fish out of water. He was just down and it was over. So that's the way she goes, but what can you do? Sandhagen and Alcantara. I had a unit on Alcantara at plus 220. I thought that was a winner right early. He had that armbar in. Sounds like it did break or fractured part of Sandhagen's arm, but he just fought through it. Like it. And then Sandhagen just put an absolute beating on Alcantara. That definitely should have been stopped in the first, even though I had money on Alcantara that he was done, and then he got to take an even more abuse in the second round, and then they finished it. And I was one of the guys that was on Kraus. I got him at plus 351. I had a full unit on him, so that was an awesome hit. That was a really, really smart game plan. He was kind of using a Diaz style, just like not putting. He was putting like 50-60% of his boxing and just touching up Warley, just trying to get him to gas, and he just picked the right spot to throw that knee, and it was a beauty.
Awesome knee. Yeah, it was fucking sweet.
Yep.
Is Sandhagen from one of the Tough series? I'm trying to remember where he came from.
Wasn't he
Tuesday night?
Yeah, he was a Contender Series.
He's a Contender Series guy, right? Yeah, he's got a. What's he 2-0 in UFC now? 2 finishes.
That ground and pound is vicious, man. Fuck.
Well, I hope they give him a little bit of a bump and put him on a main card on his next card, because I think he's earned the right to get a little bit of publicity after that performance. So. At least there are some winners that come out of the Contender Series, because it seems like they've been on a pretty poor run of form. But whatever. Televised card was pretty good. Let's start it off with, in my opinion, this might be a top 5 knockout of the year. Anders head kick TKO over Tim Williams when Tim Williams was literally getting off the ground. He head kicks him into freaking oblivion. Oh, that was fantastic. But Wes, this was not a performance that saw Eric Anders move up your hierarchy in this division, was it?
Man, I don't know. You can probably look at it a couple ways. I mean, first off, that kick, man, you want to have somebody like me having flashbacks of some Pride shit. I mean, it's close enough. That was fucking sweet, man. But I don't know. It's like I believe Tim Williams was kind of a replacement for somebody, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, it's Tim fucking Williams, man. I mean, Anders had just fought Machida and shit, one of the biggest fights of his life. I know you want to.
What you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, you want to come back and make up for that loss and shit. But I guess a guy like this, you know what I'm saying, halfway, down the card. I mean, yeah, I can kind of understand it. But on the other side, it was a lackluster performance from Anders. Even outside of that awesome finish, this guy looks like they pulled him out of a fucking 3 years in a cave. Should have never went this fucking long with Anders. But you still got to believe in this dude, man. I mean, he's got all the talent, dude, and we've said it over and over. UFC and MMA in general just have very few athletes of this caliber. So yeah, I think he's going to be all right. He needs better opponents though. I think this is going to be a guy that's been on those kind of stages in another sport. He's going to play down to this type of competition. He needs guys to bring out the best in him. And I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, he should probably get the winner of the Theodoro. What's his name?
Shoeface.
Junior.
Yeah,
fight. That would probably be a pretty good level to kind of see where he's at. Seems like he's in that kind of grouping. One guy though who looks like a pretty good athlete and looks like he's ready for prime time, Davison Figueiredo, just laid an absolute beating on John Moraga, beating like Moraga hasn't even seen before. Wes, what did you think of this? This looked like a destruction.
Yeah, I mean, I was on Figueiredo pretty big going into this fight. I think it was a little bit of juice, -140 or something like that. Moraga was just getting a lot of hype. I mean, I know he went on a little run, but he was talking retirement literally like last year. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
He ended up beating a couple guys and was like, hey, I'm going to stick around and give it another chance. It just this guy's for real, man. I don't think there's too much disputing that now. He's definitely going to need I mean, I guess you could look at Moraga as a little bit step up in competition for him at this stage with the run Moraga was on and the experience you had. But I mean, this guy's at 14-0 now, man. 30 years old. It's probably time to start getting him some top 7-8 guys fights, man, because he's looking like he can make a run, dude. There's just so much talent down at these lower weight classes, man, and this is another guy coming up.
You, Sean, how far you think How far do you think they're going to book Figueiredo for his next fight?
Flyweight. Let's see the rankings. So let's see. He's number 6 now. He moved up 8 spots.
Just probably should have won more.
Just ahead of Moraga. Moraga's 7, so he passed
Wait,
a lot of guys.
Who are the top 10?
You got DJ, Sergio Pettis, Benavidez, Borg, Formiga, Figueiredo, Moraga, Wilson Hayes, Pantoja, and Dustin Ortiz. That's the top 10.
Shouldn't Hayes be above Moraga?
No, Hayes lost to Moraga.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of his.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher. I was definitely on the fade Moraga train when he was talking about retirement. He pulls one out against Bibulatov, which was fairly impressive, and then he was able to beat Wilson Hayes in a bit of a head scratcher because I thought pretty highly of
dude.
Hayes.
What about that guy Alex Perez? What's he ranked? Is he ranked?
Is he a flyweight?
I thought that's flyweight. The one against who beat Jose Torres and like 100 strikes in a round.
Yeah, he's not ranked yet. He probably should be though.
Yeah, he should be after that.
So I don't know. Like he's right there. I don't know who. So who's?
I mean,
is
got
Benavidez and
Formiga.
Borg booked? Is that who's fighting next?
I think it might be.
Or who's Pettis fighting next?
He got a big fight lined up too, didn't he?
I thought he did.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think he did too. I mean, you got Formiga calling for a title shot too. That'd be a pretty good title eliminator.
Yeah, Pettis is fighting Formiga at 229.
So it's basically a title eliminator.
Yep, that is the title eliminator.
And then Borg's fighting Benavidez, so he's kind of got to sit unless he wants to fight somebody below him.
Well, it's kind of like one of those things. If those two guys are boring in the one fight, and Borg has like this spectacular knockout or something, then he might jump the. Yeah, it seems unlikely though, because considering he already lost a title fight, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider that a title thing.
They're gonna give DJ an immediate title rematch. Like I wouldn't put it past the UFC to be absolute cunts.
Not do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I would hope so, but yeah, I don't know.
But if Mighty Mouse has an injury and he's out,
yeah, he is. He did tear some shit and stuff like that. So
that's
I don't know.
it's almost for the best at this point.
He had a knee problem, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he tore his LCL.
So you can use that as an excuse to not do that fight.
Yeah, so I don't know who's Figueiredo's going to fight next. He might have to actually fight somebody lower than him all of a sudden after he shot up the rankings 8 spots. But I think he's going to be in the top 5 pretty.
Could do like Dustin Ortiz or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Or you just fight the loser of Pettis.
Yeah, it just depends if Figueiredo wants to wait.
Just there's some options up there in the top 5. You know.
Yeah, you just got to wait for the fights to happen, or maybe the fights fall apart and he has to jump in on a couple weeks' notice or something like that. He could be ready to fight any of those guys in the top 5 there.
And what was probably the most predictable outcome on the card?
Oh, shit.
It didn't take long, but Brian Barberena ended Jake Ellenberger's career. He now has the soul of Jake Ellenberger on his mantle. Knockout, TKO, round 1. Yeah, he's got some of the ashes. Yeah. At least Jake knew that it was the end. Put his gloves down in the middle of the cage. Continued his interview, in his hometown. So that was neat. Wes, quick thoughts here. I don't think we need anything significant.
Yeah, Jake should have done this a while ago, man. I had Barberena in a few things, man, but yeah, I'm glad to see him call it, man. He needs to do other things with his life.
New Sean?
Ellenberger's another guy I took a 1 unit stab on.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did at plus 375. I still ended up big on this card somehow, just throwing darts at some dogs. I was trying to find
you're taking a method from the master.
Shit.
Wipe that man there
correctly, but really could have went either way. Courtney Casey getting a split decision win over Angela Hill. I thought this fight was halfway decent. I didn't think it was terrible.
Yep.
Wes?
Yeah, I thought this was actually one of the as good as a women's MMA fight as you could probably get. I thought it was pretty good. Action all the way through, some pretty high-level skill in it, too. I thought Casey won the fight, but I bet on her, too, so I was a little biased, but it was close. I thought she won.
Nushan, what did you think of the result here?
Yeah, close fight. I mean, I've definitely seen worse. So I wasn't really surprised. I thought kind of Casey just edged it just enough. So congrats to her, and another women's fight goes to decision.
Sounds enthusiastic.
Can't even say overs. They're gonna steal that too, Sean. Just wait. It's not even. They're gonna start tracking women's goes to the decision instead of overs.
They would. Co-main. This one I got wrong, but I don't know if I really got it wrong in a way. Michael Johnson won a split decision over Andre Fili, but man, any Michael Johnson backers, how badly were you pissed your pants in that second round when he actually fell to the mat and Fili had that choke in, and you see like Johnson like spitting up spit or whatever it was doing there. Oh, what the. I mean, personally, I was stunned that he
Johnson
didn't give up.
Quit.
He didn't quit. I mean, honestly, that might have been the most stunning thing on this fight card.
Yeah.
Wes, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, that was pretty stunning, dude. Because outside of that, I thought Michael Johnson performed fairly well and kind of how I thought the fight would play out. But yeah, I thought it was over. I figured he was tapping several times to that shit, but he didn't. He did, man. I took some of. He got to plus 110 or something like that. I got to plus 105, and I was pretty heavy on MJ in this fight. I just thought he was the better guy than Fili, and Fili likes to shit the bed so much as well. So, but yeah, you're right, man. At that moment, I was burning, setting it on fire. But yeah, he came through, man. I don't know what you do with either of these guys, man. MJ's on a decline. And I just don't know how cutting down that much weight at this point in his career. He came back up for this fight, right?
No, it was
featherweight. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I think he might have said something after the fight about maybe going back up, but I don't know what he's, what his mindset is at this point, man. He seems on a decline, so dude could absolutely be a fade going forward for me.
Nushan, do you think we have a legitimate fade plan opportunity here with Michael Johnson?
I just don't know if anybody's hyped up on Michael Johnson enough to give us a good price. I mean, people are already hammering Fili. I mean, I got Michael Johnson at plus 120. It's just people don't think of much of him, and I don't really disagree. He still can't wrestle, even if he goes down in weight and he's bigger than some of these guys. He still gets out-wrestled by anybody. And it doesn't seem like his power translates too much. Fili has a fairly good chin, so maybe it was just that, but I don't know what Michael Johnson's going to do right now, because it seems like it doesn't matter where he is. He's kind of outmatched, whether it's grappling or power or anything really. I was happy to get out of here with a win, a 1-unit win with the old plus 120. But yeah, I don't know what he's gonna do at this point. But yeah, I'd be if maybe there's a bunch of people out there that somehow think he's still got something after this win. We can hopefully do that, and maybe we can fade him next time out.
Hopefully, and then of course. The highlight of this fight card,
glorious
the main event.
Sweet.
What many told us would be the very end of Justin Gaethje, another knockout loss, but it was not to be, because the true colors of the punch drunk one,
the Homer Simpson,
knocked out, and not just knocked him out, had a guy trying to grapple with him 4 or 5 minutes after the fight even ended.
Shit, he went into the goddamn give it to me, Lloyd fucking pose, dude. Face down, ass up.
After he did the YMCA.
I don't know why people think that James Vick has this incredible chin, but let's just say the result: Justin Gaethje by one hitter quitter. Boom, bang, on the cage. See you later. First round over James Vick in the night's main event. This knockout was right up there with when Beneil Dariush sent him to like next Friday. A few fights ago from Vic. And Vic's was talking a lot of trash. Heading into this fight. Had this whole mathematical equation about
the house.
Hell, he bet his house, right? He bet his
So James Vick is homeless now, so that's
Man, dude thought he could turn a split level into a colonial. Man, now he turned it into a goddamn cardboard box.
Oh, shit.
Split level to cardboard. Wes,
real quick,
how much did you enjoy this?
Man, I tell you, in the moment, like it ranked up there with Hendo Bisping for me. It ranked up there with Bones Jones head kick on DC. Like it's just what. Seriously, it's like, fights are great, knockouts and results give us. That's why we watch it and gamble on it. But just everything after that, like Twitter changes things. It had a different feel, man, after that one. You just seen the joy of this fucking piece of shit getting knocked slick out. And then, like, all the money we all made, like, Justin Gaethje as a dog to James Vick. Like, me and Brad, like, tweeted right before it. And we always do, tall guy defense. But if you literally watch the fight and know what you're looking at, it was picture perfect tall guy defense. Like,
he just missed it just before, like probably 30 seconds before, he just missed the exact same punch.
Yeah, I mean, Gaethje knew Gaethje even said it after the fight. I mean, he set it up perfectly. Vic, all the shit he talked, all the thinking the disrespect he gets and this and that, and it's like, this is why we watch Gaethje, and Gaethje has all the fans that he does, and Vic has like 3, The guys
we just happen to know all 3 of them.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that was I think that was an all timer, dude. MMA moment. We're all huge Justin Gaethje fans. The guy lays it out on the line every time. If Gaethje's not one of your favorite fighters and James Vick is, you should go get fucked in the ass by Lloyd Irvin.
Let's put it this way. You don't have to like Justin Gaethje. There's guys people just don't like for whatever reason. But if you can't respect his desire or ability to
entertain,
to entertain, literally, he doesn't. I don't think he cares about winning titles. Honestly, I think he might be one of 10 guys in this organization that does not care if he ever fights for a title. I don't think he cares. I think he likes literally just going in there, entertaining people and beating the shit out of people. And that's okay.
That guy would literally do King of the Cage tournaments for $500 back in 1998. Straight up. Like, that dude would fight for $500. And that he's different, man. He's different than most guys. He's one of those guys too that realize that the money comes with it. I mean, it's not a ton of money, don't get me wrong, but Gaethje's made a few $100,000 since he's stepped into the UFC.
It's more than most people made. It's more than most people make.
Exactly. I mean, that's what champs like Woodley make for 5-round decisions. You know what I'm saying? Because Gaethje goes out there and lays it on the fucking line, and I got more respect for him than most fighters, man. That dude's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that knockout was definitely shower curtain worthy. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I had 3 units on Gaethje at plus 134. I thought that was a steal. It was insane. Gaethje was a little more tentative to start with. Just had to kind of figure out how to get inside, and once he did, it was over. Unbelievable night, unbelievable just moment, just unbelievable. Not much more you can say about that. Fucking thank whoever
overlords
for Justin Gaethje doing what everybody wanted him to do.
Dougie, you probably had your best night on Twitter ever, dude.
Yep.
I honestly think that Gaethje being in the World Series of Fighting actually kind of helped create his allure, as opposed to him being in the UFC at like 23 or whatever it was, and then kind of starting from scratch. Like it kind of worked out in a way, where he just kind of jumped in to do main events. It's pretty much now every time he's going to fight until he basically gives out.
He's
like
must-watch TV. There's
until
not
he's
many guys out there that are must-watch TV.
Do you think that Gaethje would have made it in the UFC if he would have like started his career there the way he fights? Like he would have took a couple losses here and there and would have probably got cut.
Yeah.
Like they'd have probably cut him sometime in there eventually. You know, he got to go over, like Jay said, over to World Series of Fighting and just fight guys that was standing bang with him every time, and he was better than all of them. You know what I'm saying? So he got to showcase, man. I don't know if he would have been a 7-8 year UFC fighter with the way he fights, with the way that company beats, man.
There's a legit possibility. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, he's not going to have more than Cowboy, but I'm thinking of guys, most amount of main events a guy's ever been in without, with non-title main event fights. I mean, he's moving up there pretty quickly. What's he got? 5 fights already? The UFC is all 5 in main events? Something like that. Yeah. It's wild.
At least they're using him right. Got to give him that. They're using him right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility that he may, every single fight he's ever in may be a main event.
That's
not true.
That's
not true. The one against Eddie Alvarez was a pay-per-view co-main event, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, but that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
But moving forward, they might just throw him on fight nights, just entertain fucking people. Here, main event this, main event that. It's like, okay, like
he's must-watch TV, and I know like the frickin' viewership was down. I mean, I blame that more on the whole FS1 thing, but that guy, if there's any friends that ever ask about watching fights and he's coming around, that guy is must-watch TV.
Wow, exactly. Like, you're going to come away entertained. I mean, he's never been in... I don't think he's ever been in a fight that wasn't entertaining.
Nope.
No, never. Even before World Series of Fighting, he's got some, like, slam KO knockouts and shit. And before World Series of Fighting. No, that dude's been a nutbag since he started. Yeah, like Sean said, you probably count that on 2 hands, who you could actually say is must-see fighters. I mean, there's not like a ton of them.
Nope.
I mean, think about it. How many guys are there?
There's not a ton
like
of
that. Like that. You can tell me that they've never. That every single fight they've been in is entertaining. Every single one.
There's not. That list might
I'm
only
trying
be
to
Justin
think.
Gaethje.
Well, I can think of a couple.
Yeah, there might be a couple more.
Little drunk is up there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much, but
even Lineker's had a couple of fights that were like, well,
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say that. Like, we're like, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah.
Still
it wasn't
fine.
like, oh my god, yeah, he's still.
yeah,
right.
yeah. You better slow your roll on that, Jay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, just quickly. Oh man.
I mean, Connor. However I feel about Connor, there's not too many times that I can remember him being in.
He's not in a boring
Just
fight.
I mean,
that was kind of blah, but I guess he hurt his
He
knee
tore
at
his
that
knee
point.
though.
Yeah, that's true.
it was still a good fight, though. I mean, a couple rounds of it was.
Yeah,
It was still a good fight.
What can you do about that? He tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Tony Ferguson's up there, but he had a couple even against Danny Castillo. That was a weird
That was
fight.
a weird one. Yeah. So yeah,
There's not many.
It's
a short list.
Yeah, it's a very short list. Another nice thing about this fight not being a bloody war, it gave old Gaethje's brain a little rest,
Yeah.
from the last 3 wars he's been in. So it's kind of nice for him to get out of a fight fairly unscathed and ready to go for whatever's next.
Might get him for an extra fight or 2 on the back end.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I wonder who they give him next. I would really like to see that Tony Ferguson fight at some point in time. I really would.
I mean,
that'd be a barn burner.
That might be it.
That would be something.
Supposedly Poirier's fighting Diaz, maybe. And then you got Conor and Khabib.
You think that's going to happen?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't know.
I know it's under him, but I would love to see him and Iaquinta go at it. I think that would be a hell of a scrap.
So Iaquinta's fighting Kevin
Felder?
Lee.
Oh, Kevin Lee, maybe.
Yeah.
And,
it's a rematch from the card that I went to, actually.
Yeah. And then Barboza is fighting Dan Hooker, I believe.
Yeah,
I heard that. I don't know what I think of that fight.
That's going to be a wild
It's a
fight,
scrap.
however long it lasts.
I know people
So there's not really
interested in
much
that.
else for Gaethje. I mean, he already lost to Alvarez, so him versus Tony Ferguson, if they do that one, that would be insane.
Well, let's assume. Well, the Tony Pettis fight has to happen.
Oh, right, yeah, he is fighting Pettis.
Well, it hasn't
So,
been canceled yet. Let's say.
Yeah, that's true. They should just say fuck it and just cancel Tony Pettis and just give him.
Yeah, no
Gaethje.
one needs to see that. Yeah,
Just pay Pettis fucking whatever $100,000 and let.
I suppose they could do Felder.
Felder's not even ranked at this point.
Yeah, but that's because he was hanging around at welterweight doing some things. They could do that, but let's see. UFC 228 this Saturday. We have a whopping 14 fights booked. Over under on how many fights we'll have. 12 and a half. Juiced 12 and a half.
I'll take the over. I think it's going to be 13.
I'll take the over. Yeah, I think it's going to be all of because they want us to sit through shit till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, there's only 5 main card fights. So
yeah, it starts at 10, and it's a hard 10 to start, so, well, that's true. All right, first fight. This should be an entertaining one. Frank Camacho taking on Jeff Neal at welterweight. Wes, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I don't have too many thoughts on this fight. The pick here is going to be Neal for me. I think he's a little better at this point. I don't have a lot to go on, just kind of memory. I haven't done a bunch of tape or any fucking thing on this fight, but Neal was pretty good got a decent one over a pretty good guy on Tuesday Night Contender Series, and he beat Bilal Williams in LFA, which is a really good win. Bilal Williams is still down there getting wins in that organization. And Camacho's a tough out, though, man. He just, I don't know. I just don't think he's at the level Neal is at this point. I'm not laying any juice on Neal in this fight, though. But he'll be the pick and top master. No bet for me.
New Sean.
So Frank Camacho's had 3 UFC fights. He's won fight of the night all 3 times.
That's impressive.
It's fun.
It's going to be a little tougher. I mean, it is a UFC Fight Pass fight, so those are always a little tougher to win the old fight of the night. But if he knowing him, he can do it. This is going to be a wild ass fight. I don't know too much about Steele. Obviously, he beat Brian Camozzi and beat that guy on the Contender Series, Chase Walden, in pretty good fashion. So I get why Neal is the favorite here, even kind of not being that well known. But yeah, if fight of the night, those props still come out and it's big enough, maybe take a shot at Neal and Camacho being the fight of the night.
I don't know. They still doing those?
They do. I think so.
My thing with Camacho is that I remember that he had struggles with Damian Brown, and Damian Brown is not a very good fighter, and he's small for the weight class. And Jeff Neal, I think, in general, I think he's still a little bit inexperienced, but, Camacho hasn't been around forever either. But the athleticism gap here is significant. Neal is a way better athlete, way quicker. I think that's going to play its part. I think even though Camacho puts out entertainment, I think this is more of a man versus boy kind of thing. Not badly, but we'll see. This isn't one I'd want to bet the farm on, or in James Vick's case, house. But I think there's no, I don't think it will. So I'll take Jeff Neal here, and I think he'll do so by knockout. Let's next fight up is actually really interesting. It has some interest for that weight class. Got Jared, what is he, the Monkey God?
Yeah.
Brooks, worst nickname in MMA.
Dumb shit.
Against Roberto Sanchez. Wes, what do you think about this one?
Look, I mean, Brooks is more skilled here. He's fought the better competition, but he's a dumbass. Just look at his look at his last fight.
Everything he does.
I mean, I'm not going to put him in Scoggins, Luke Sanders level dumbassery.
Not yet, anyway.
But that shit he did last fight gets him very, very close on its own. He shouldn't be this big a fave. This is a short notice fight too. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot, but it's still a different opponent than what he was preparing for. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take a small little shot here on the big dog, and hopefully that this idiot does more idiot stuff.
You, Sean, do you think that he'll do more idiot stuff?
I kind of hope so.
Who does?
Yeah, I mean,
it's fun that way. It's chaos.
He's kind of a moron. I don't know. He thinks he's the greatest thing ever, and he does stupid shit. So I don't mind kind of seeing him fuck up. But
yeah, exactly.
I don't think Roberto Sanchez is that good. He's definitely lost to not a great guy in Joseph Morales. But like Wes said, this is short notice. That is a big ass number. I'm probably going to wait to see what kind of price it is for Roberto Sanchez inside the distance. I would assume it should be in the plus 500 range, plus 600. Doesn't go the distance, is plus 100. So that should be a pretty damn big number just to throw maybe half a unit on or something. But
he's actually,
what's that?
He's gone up.
I know. Now he's plus 325, right?
Yeah, he's gone up 50 cents just tonight, a little bit ago.
That's crazy.
Look, the reality is that Sanchez could get wrestle fucked here. I don't think it'd surprise any of us that if he was taken down each round and kind of controlled there for the most part. But Brooks, his gas tank is just weight class. Really, it's just not good. He's usually in third rounds just a complete mook. And strange shit happens, and Sanchez, has a pretty potent submission game. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Brooks kind of blew this up. And at that price, you have to wonder. I definitely didn't see Brooks as a minus 400 favorite, and Sanchez over plus 300 in this bout. So I would not fault anybody for taking a shot here, even. If you look back, it's a 30-27 Brooks wrestle fuck across the board. I don't think it's a terrible play. Next bout up, Nushan might be doing his usual things again. Back to his part of the program. Women's bantamweight bout, Irene Aldana and Lucy Pudilova. Wes, what do you think?
Not much. I think you should just do what Sean does on this fight because it's going to happen, and I will probably pick Pudilova and Topmaster because she is a slight dog. That's
Fine.
it.
All right, Nushan. Short and sweet.
I'm not betting the over. It's minus 475.
Woof.
That's a bit steep for my liking, especially with Aldana only having one decision win in her career. She definitely is able to finish. I mean, she's had three. She went to 3 straight decisions. Before that, she didn't have any. So,
has Pudilova ever been finished?
Pudilova has been she has not been finished, and she's about half of her wins are by finish. So I am definitely not going to be touching that. It probably wins because it's women's fighting and they don't usually finish. But I'll pick Pudilova. She's got a couple decent wins and she's the dog. So that's about it. I will probably not watch this. There's better things to do.
Can't disagree with you there, but I think Aldana, I don't think there's a hype train anymore, but she's certainly the more well-known fighter. She came over at the same time as Alexa Grasso, and there was this whole thing about this, this movement towards Mexican fighter. They were going to start to really be a force in MMA. I mean, Grasso still has her moments, but Aldana to me is like her takedown defense blows, and she can get dominated that way. She has some decent boxing, but it's not anything end all be all. She's facing a fighter now in Pudilova who's like one of the biggest fighters in the weight class, who can pull a bit as well. I think the wrong fighter's favorite. I think Pudilova is going to win this fight. Aldana has not shown me much at all, so I'm going to take Pudilova. I haven't bet it yet, but I might. I may very well might. I know it's not like the greatest thing in the world. There are a couple other better bets on this fight card, and we'll get to them in a bit.
Just chase it down with a shot of marinara and ride with it, Jay.
Next fight up, though, this might be one of them. We got Jim Miller still fighting. I don't want to say anything bad about a Jersey guy, but he's fighting, taking on Alex White. Oh, Wes. Does my Jersey compatriot have a shot here?
Man, I mean, you should be proud of the career that Miller's had.
Yeah.
He's a tough cat.
He's a workman.
Yeah. But dude, he's gotten the shit beat out of him over the past couple of years, man, and I don't think too much of Alex White, man, but he's a big dude at this weight, and man, Miller struggles really bad with guys that can just push him around, because that's the game that he wants to have, and I just think he's in trouble here, man. I really don't get this line. It's creeping up slowly. White opened at -110, which was I think a little crazy. Yeah, some of the MMA lines, man, now like they get a lot of stuff like pretty good close, but man, whoever's making them has some bad lines here lately. You just gotta catch them when you can and get what you can on them. I didn't catch the -110, but it's still only -150. I did get a little bit of the -140, and that's one of my. Not my biggest bet on the card, but one of my bigger bets on the card. I like Alex White here. Like I said, I don't think a whole lot of him as a fighter. It's just a lot to do with the situation here. Miller's going to be in trouble here, in my opinion.
Nushan.
Jim Miller opened the favorite in this fight at -130. Alex might -110.
That's crazy.
This
not
is
right.
This is so weird that I'm scared that the number is what it is. I definitely don't think Alex White is that good or anything. I mean, he did put a hell of a beating on Mitch Clark. I was in person to watch that beating, and holy fuck, he put in work. And Jim Miller has just looked so bad recently. I mean, at least before the Dan Hooker fight, he was getting beat, but he was making the decision. Then he just got absolutely rocked by Dan Hooker. So I definitely could see Alex White just putting it on Jim Miller from the start of the bell, and this could be a quick one. I was kind of expecting this number to be a little closer to like -200. It's kind of scaring me enough that I'm probably just going to have to put like 1 unit on it, because maybe some people are seeing things that I don't see. And I definitely have some bigger bets on this card, so I just keep it small with a 1 unit bet on Alex White at -150.
I almost think it's a better play, and I'll keep it quick. I mean, this is a complete fade of Jim Miller. I mean, just based on, say, last 5-6 fights. I mean, there's nothing I've seen to make me believe that he's going to win this fight. But if Alex White wins, and assuming he does, which we all seem to agree, I mean, is there really a way that Alex White's going to win this fight going to a decision? I mean, I feel like it goes to decision that it's going to be Jim Miller.
Miller's tough. Miller's tough.
Is he, though, still?
I mean, he got the shit beaten out of him by Trinaldo, Pettis, and Poirier, and he was able to
he's taking a lot of
the bell on those.
Yep, I've seen him do it, yeah. It wouldn't shock me.
But
I more lean with how Sean thinks it's going to go, though.
But this seems this seems different, though. I mean, it seems later in the career now.
Yeah, and that last knockout could have put him over the edge, where maybe his chin is entirely gone now.
Right. Exactly. So I'm gonna say Alex Way. I think there's a big size advantage here too for Alex Way. I mean, he's got such a length advantage over Jim Miller. He's going to be able to hit him on the feet. I don't see Jim being able to cover. For any lengthy period of time. Alex White getting a finish on Ford. Maybe at that point he'll do one more fight and he'll call it a career, or I certainly hope so, because he's had a good one, but don't take any more punishment. This is the one I wanted to talk about. So we have another White, Craig White, taking on a guy who can be a future UFC champion and the Diego Sanchez, future champion.
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about.
I found that gym.
Diego's not even on anything. He's just on punches from a
He's high on life. He's high on life. He's a fucking moron. What the hell? This guy thinks he could be a future champion. He needs to win like 27 fights to get there.
Holy shit.
Where is he going with this? I love his enthusiasm, but holy Christ, he should be a motivational guy, like a hype man. Like that would literally. I honestly think that the UFC should hire Diego Sanchez, force him to retire immediately, and let him take over the Burt Watson job of just like being a hype man. The former Burt, just hype people up because he's hype. That's what he does. He's full of energy.
Give me one of those radios.
Hype him up. Hype him up. Hype him up. Anyway,
you'll never believe it.
Is the future UFC champion going to get it started on Saturday night with a victory?
So I go back and been on the run of watching all the UFCs and prides and shit over, and I've gotten through a lot of shit. So, but I started watching the Ultimate Fighters over because I'm just but the first few seasons are actually good.
You're a sadomasochist. You are a
sadomasochist. Diego has been a fucking moron for
forever.
Years, dude. Like he's the same cat on that show that he is now, dude. He's just that dude's in another galaxy. He's not on this fucking planet half the time. It's crazy to me that this dude's only 36 years old, man. Like he's literally got to be like senior citizen, fucking ring age, Like he's got to be pushing 65 and in fight years, man.
Hope he can qualify for Medicaid.
It's crazy though, man. Like seriously, if he doesn't get slicked in like a minute, would you be shocked if something dumb happens here? Like it's fucking Diego. Like
I'm trying to remember Craig White. Oh, it's hard.
He's not fought like anybody. He got fucked up by Neil Magny knocked him out. You know what I'm saying? In the first round, you get knocked out by Neil Magny in the first round. Like it wouldn't surprise me, man, if he doesn't like knock Diego out really quick. If Diego takes a couple punches and stays in there, I don't know, man. I really couldn't tell you what's going to happen because if this shit goes to a decision, nobody knows what's going to happen. I don't care who you are. You can't say you know what's going to happen at a Diego decision anymore. If this shit keeps creeping up, I'm taking a half unit shot on Diego. I swear to God, if it's got to get you got to give me 3-1.
This scrub is 14-8.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It ain't like he's some great fight. Like the UFC is setting Diego up with a halfway winnable fight here if he's not like he's probably completely gone. Don't get me wrong, but if this dude can't punch or something, he got knocked out in the first round by Neil Magny. If he got pillow fist and can't knock Diego out, shit's gonna get interesting. I just put it.
Don't talk Don't talk yourself into anything here, please. You're talking yourself into a bet. Oh no, he is, isn't he, Newton?
Yeah,
Isn't he?
I need 3-1. I need 3-1 on fucking applesauce head, like straight up 3-1.
Oh, new Sean, what do we do here?
I played doesn't go the distance. I put it in a parlay. It was minus 215 when I grabbed it. Pretty much a pure fade on Diego. I think he's going to get flatlined. Or subbed, or who knows what. But Wes is right. This Craig White guy is nothing special. But he also hasn't went to a decision, and the only decision he's been to one decision. It was only a technical decision, so it was after 2 rounds.
That was against Leon Edwards.
Yeah, and that was only after 2 rounds, and that was in 2012. So he doesn't go to a decision whether it's a win or a loss, so that's kind of more my angle. Maybe if somehow Diego can survive, he can overwhelm Craig White and choke him out or knock him out or something. I could give 2 shits as long as somebody's going to sleep. I do think it's going to be Diego getting knocked out. Those back-to-back KOs from Iaquinta and Matt Brown were pretty nasty. I think the whole Diego chin, the only thing that really kept him in fights forever is gone at this point. So I think if Craig White touches him, it's over. So that's what I'm banking on.
Yeah, I think you're
it's
right.
gonna happen.
Yeah,
please don't get the 3-1. just don't get the 3-1. Don't bet any money on Craig White, people, please.
I don't see it going well for Diego. just like Jim Miller, I think he's even more so than Jim Miller. He's toast. I'll eat my words on this. We'll get from Cutta like one former host of this show was supposed to do when the results go his way. He is a fraud for doing that or not doing that per se. I will not do that because weird shit does happen with Diego Sanchez. But man, he is. It's just gotta stop. There's no other way to put it. Craig White by finish. Don't care when it happens.
It's gotta stop. This shit's just gotta stop.
All right, televised portion of the card. We got Charles Byrd and Darren Stewart. West. This should be fun, right?
Yeah, this should be a pretty fun fight. Stewart's usually in some pretty stuff, man. Whether he wins or loses, and I'm not putting too much into him knocking out Spicely, man. I think Spicely just kind of, I don't know, man.
Sucks.
He sucks so bad.
Did he get cut?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he did.
He just, I don't know. I'll never stop having nightmares of fucking him and fucking
Thiago Santos.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
I'll just never. But I think Spicely, he lived off that win for a couple of years. I like Charles Byrd quite a bit, man. I think the guy's pretty good. He's getting kind of old in this game to be making it to this level now. You know what I'm saying? He's already 34, pushing 35. It just to just now be making it to this level at that age is not a great sign. But from what I've seen, his debut was real nice. It wasn't against anybody special. His win on Tuesday night was really good too, but the competition just isn't too great. But I think he's got enough to beat Darren Stewart in this fight. I don't know if I can play any juice on him though in a parlay or anything though, but he's definitely going to be the pick. Charles Byrd.
Sean, are you seeing it the same way?
Yeah, Darren Stewart he's in fun fights, but he's not very good. He's
undersized too. That's part of the problem.
He kind of pulled a rabbit out of his hat, knocking out Spicely. Before that was 3 straight losses. This Charles Byrd should be able to put him out. Whether it's by submission or knockout, I don't know, but he should be able to body him. He's going to be bigger, I think, and he should be just to be able to bully him and put him away. But
I think he's a Texas guy too.
Charles Byrd?
I think so.
He's from Plano, Texas.
So that should be an advantage in its own right. Those Texas athletic commissions are.
Yeah.
Not that it will matter, but anyway. One fight I certainly want to talk about, and a bantamweight division. John Dodson, Tim Jersey Boy, Jimmy Rivera. I know you got some things to say about this fight. Lay it on us.
Yeah, this is a really good fight, though. Two of the top guys in the division. I think we're all three of us on here kind of looking at this one about the same, though. I think at this level of the division, I think Jimmy Rivera is a little bit more of a, I wouldn't want to say fake, but I think Dodson is a real top 5 guy in this division.
Well, let's use the word pretender. How about that?
Yeah, Rivera wants to be a top 5 guy, and he acts like a top 5 guy. I don't know if he's ever going to have the skills to be that top 5 guy as long as the dudes that are there right now, stick around. I just think Rivera's wins are, if you look at them a little closely, man, they're just not what, the Munoz win a little while back was decent, but it was a really close fight. I mean, you beat Faber, and we know Thomas Almeida's chin now. Jimmy caught that. Props to him. But I mean, when he finally stepped into a guy, I mean, it's not a terrible loss losing to a guy that I think might be the best in the division at this point. But I mean, he wasn't even in that fight from the get go. And I mean, whatever you think about Dodson, man, if you think he's declining a little bit or what, the dude just continues to perform, man. And he's, even when he's up against the top of the division, he's right in it. I mean, they're going to close decision losses, and his skill set here is just pretty much built for Jimmy. I think Rivera is one of those guys too he's a great wrestler and a great grinder, but these dudes get into good MMA gyms and start learning how to box, and they all want to box. They all want to use their hands, and Dodson will run circles around him if he wants to stand and try to box with Dodson. So plus money on John Dodson, on one of the best in the division for the past 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I'll take a little bit of that.
Nushan.
I'm a little bit lower on, just a tiny bit lower on Dodson than I think you guys. He's just always in close fights. I mean, he is fighting really good guys. He is in close fights. I think he should be, against some of these guys, he should be in not as close of fights. He should be able to take over. Pedro Munoz, I think he should have been in a wider fight than that based on the matchup. Pedro Munoz is good, but that is a fight that Dodson should, kind of take a bigger lead in. And fuck, I probably should take Dodson if I think this is going to be a split decision fight, and I'm getting plus 130. So that's probably something I should take. I'll probably pick Dodson just because he is the underdog, and I think it's a very close fight. The thing I did bet was goes to decision. I put it in that parlay with Sanchez doesn't go to decision. I got it at minus 265. So those two together, it's just over. It's like plus 102. I got that for 2 units. Both of these guys go to decision a lot. I don't think Dodson has much for finishing power at bantamweight, and he has an unreal chin. So Jimmy could look to wrestle here. It's kind of more his style. I know everybody kind of knows him for being more of a boxer and has some sweet knockouts and knockdowns in the UFC, but before that he was more of a grinder. That's going to be tough to keep Dodson down, just because of how good he is at getting up and squirming away. So I think this is going to be a close fight. I'll pick Dodson, but the bet is definitely for it to go to decision.
Yeah, every handful of cards, there's usually a fight where you look at lines and there's a clear long. I think we saw last time with James Vick, and we're seeing it again here with Jimmy Rivera. I mean, look, I should be the biggest Jimmy Rivera advocate there is. I mean, literally grew up down, a few towns away from him. I always support the Jersey fighters. But, I mean, the sad reality is, Wes kind of pointed to it. He's kind of a pretender. His best wins are what? Uriah Faber, who was aged. He had a fight over Thomas Almeida, who took advantage of with a bad chin, and he got hurt in that fight as well. Dodson's only lost in his career to Demetrius Johnson, John Lineker. There's one more. It's like I'm losing it. Oh, Marlon Moraes, and that was a split decision. So was Lineker. You could make cases that he won those fights. Those are his UFC losses. The biggest difference in this fight, I think, is speed. I mean, Jimmy Rivera is not a speed guy. He's a decent wrestler. I shouldn't say decent. He's above average to good wrestler, and he's got good boxing. I mean, he's got good hooks, but there's a huge advantage to Dodson, not just in movement, but in hand speed. And that's going to play to Dodson's favor. I mean, Rivera is not a big guy either, so it's not like Dodson's, even though he's a pretty small, you can even say a tiny weight. I don't think the size advantage is really going to be that much of an issue here. I ultimately think it's going to come down to Dodson be able to pick and pop, and then lay in some of the heavy punches when necessary. This is also Rivera's first fight since that brutal KO loss, and his confidence. I don't think he's going to have the same kind of confidence that he had as a 19-1 or 20-1 fighter, or whatever he was prior to that loss to Marlon Moraes. So I think there's a lot of things that play into Dodson's favor in this bout. Experience against quality opposition, and most speed, and most importantly, confidence. So I love John Dodson in this fight, and I honestly think he's the best bet on this card. Considering all those things. So John Dodson plus 130 is my play. Another bantamweight bout coming up, and this is kind of a little bit of a different twist. So you have two guys on the rise that many people think might be in the position where Rivera and John Dodson are currently, maybe in a few years. So we got the New Yorker Aljamain Sterling taking on a guy that didn't have a ton of hype entering the UFC, but he was pretty good, and then beat up a few guys that did have some hype train to get to the point where Cody Stamann. This should be a good one, Wes, huh?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good fight. These are two great back-to-back fights. Man, I was just about ready to give up on my boy Aljo. Man, that was just a brutal loss to Moraes. Just devastating fashion. But afterwards, man, Aljo seemed to do all the right things, man. He took a little bit of time off, said the right things, was humble in defeat, and then went out and beat a guy that I think is pretty damn good in Brett Johns. I'm still a big fan of Brett Johns and think he's a really good fighter. And man, Aljo, that was about as a dominating decision as you can get against a really tough guy, in my opinion. So I think Aljo's head is still in the game. I think he's still got a lot of promise. Stamann's really good though, man. He's got a couple good wins as well. I don't think he's beating the level of competition or fighting the level of competition as Aljo has. And it's going to be the biggest fight of his career. So I think it's a really close fight. I just don't know enough about Stamann personally at this point. I still think Aljo's a really good fighter, and I think he squeaks out a really close fight here. I think he can control this fight, control where it goes, and wins a decision. I still haven't decided if I'm gonna bet him or not. I don't really like laying that kind of juice at this point. He was like minus 110, minus 120, but it's creeping up. So if it comes back down, I'll probably put a little bet on Aljo.
All right, Nushan, what do you think of this anticipated bantamweight bout?
It's exciting. Stamann beat a really, really tough guy in Brian Caraway. I know Caraway had been gone for a long time, but he's a guy that not many people really look good against. It was a split decision. He did kind of have some tougher moments, but overall,
He also beat a tremendous prospect in Tom Duquesnoy.
Yeah, and I mean that was Duquesnoy's first loss. I mean that's kind of bound to happen. So yeah, kind of back to back, pretty damn impressive, even though they were both split decisions. Aljamain, we're kind of just waiting for him to take that step. It seems like physically he should have it. That knockout to Moraes is a rough one, but like Wes said, he bounced back in a fairly big way against Brett Johns. There was no moments in that fight where he was in trouble.
It was impressive.
Very
that was
impressive,
an impressive,
especially with a really good grappler in Brett Johns. So yeah, I think it's a tough fight. I don't know who I think's going to win. I've kind of been on the Aljo hype train for a bit, but I haven't really seen enough from him to bet him at like minus 140. I might just pick Stamen from being the dog. I think it's a close match. It should be a fun one.
Yeah, this is a really close fight. I think that the grappling is going to negate each other. I think this ends up being on the feet, and I actually think the advantage goes to Stamen on the feet. Because boxing has gotten a bit better, but I mean he's still, I think, a really heavy kicking kind of reliant guy, and I think Stamen has better hands, and I think that's going to be the difference in what's ultimately going to be a close fight. I mean, I don't have I'm not really interested at all on a side here. If I was going to bet anything, I'd look to play the over, but I'm not sure what the current price is. I'm sure it's significantly juiced, but I really do think it's hard to see a finish happening in this one.
It's minus
350.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, for sure.
Fight goes to decision. It's minus 355. So.
Yeah, that's deserve it. Both these guys are difficult to finish, and I think it's going to be a pretty tactical bout. I don't think it's going to be particularly entertaining. I think it's important, or potentially important for the division, to see another guy kind of rise up again, to kind of start to join up with these, like a Rivera or Dodson kind of a place, or moving up in the division, but. I think it's going to be more of a tactical type of situation where there's not going to be a lot of risks taken, and it could be a close decision. So, kind of take that, as you will. So prelim main event. We got a West favorite, Tatiana Suarez, taking on Carla Esparza, who's coming off one of the best performances of her career in a close fight with Claudia Gadelha. Wes, thoughts here? The mailman's doing things, huh, Wes? Making it competitive.
Yeah, that was a hell of a point right there, man. That was nice.
Did you see that one where Novak hit the ball around the net?
Yeah. This has been pretty good. That was definitely probably Carla's biggest win, man. That was pretty impressive last time out. I was on Claudia pretty heavy. But,
Carla didn't win.
Yeah, that's right.
It was close. It was close.
Yeah, I'm getting it mixed up. Yeah, because I meant to say, people was thinking that she won that fight because Claudia, like usual, gassed in the third round like she usually does. But that was still pretty impressive from Carla in that fight. I believe it came out afterwards that Gadelha had a fucked up knee or something like that. But still, I mean, Esparza was in that fight a lot and looked pretty good. But I've been saying it for a while, and it's not like it takes any kind of crazy look to see it, but Suarez is the real man. There's few chicks in this game that can wrestle like her and knows it and uses it. And man, she's getting better by the fight. And I think this is going to be a mauling, man. I think she's going to maul Carla here. She's going to be so undersized in this fight. I just can't see anything happening but just an absolute beatdown. And I like Suarez quite a bit. I played her points handicap and a couple things. I believe it was it's -3.5 at around -225 or something like that. I got that in a couple parlays, and I also like Suarez inside the distance at +170, or I got +165. It's +170 or +175 right now. I think that might be one of the better lines on the card, man. I really think she's going to finish here. So +170, I'll take some of that. Suarez big here for me. I think she rolls.
New Sean.
Yeah, like Wes, I expect Claudia Gadelha to just dominate Esparza.
Tatiana Suarez.
No. In the last fight.
Okay.
I thought Gadelha was going to dominate Esparza. But Esparza showed some good takedown defense. Her striking looked vastly improved. It's never been good, so I was quite surprised by that. So that's something definitely to take into account with this fight against Suarez. This is a pretty big step up for Suarez. When you go from Alexa Grasso to the former strawweight champion, that's a pretty good step up, especially in your seventh professional fight. So, but like Wes, I think Suarez is very good. And I expect her to just keep making big leaps. I took Suarez inside the distance at +170 for 1 unit. It's unlike me for some of these women's fights to end inside the distance, but I think this could be one. I think Suarez definitely has the background to get Esparza down and maybe lock in a choke.
Her fight IQ is like legit. I think you have to look at those types of things in MMA now, and she does what she does very well, and does it in a fight. That's what you want when you got your money on something.
Yeah, she knows where her bread is buttered. That's true. This would definitely be a step up for Suarez in competition. I don't think she's really been challenged at all. I guess I'm looking at Esparza a size, a big size difference. Esparza is definitely one of the smaller fighters in this weight class, and Suarez tends to be one of the biggest. And I think you can make a case, and I think you could, it may be pretty. I didn't even see she's the leader in the clubhouse of Suarez being the best wrestler in this division. And we've seen Esparza taken down in a few different fights now. Most notably in the Gadelha fight, she really had no answers on the mat. So I think Suarez is going to be able to do that. I just don't really know how Suarez is going to do in terms of if Esparza is able to stuff some takedowns or gets back to her feet. Like what kind of gas tank Suarez has as a whole. It's tough because she's been dominating these kind of decisions. I've been trying to look for angles that could potentially play Esparza, but it's hard for me. When you're a dominant wrestler, you tend to dominate, and you don't really lose rounds. We see it in several different divisions, like a Covington or a Habib. We're talking about that level of kind of wrestling mauling that Suarez is capable of, and I think she could even do that here against an Esparza. So I'll take Suarez as well, but I'm actually going to lay off a bet. Moving up to the main card, we got our pay-per-view, Abdul Razak Al Hassan and Nico Price. I think someone's going to be sleeping here, right, Wes?
Yeah, this is going to be a fun fight, man. I think you're absolutely right, too. I don't see this fight going 3 rounds. I've seen things more shocking, but I'd be pretty shocked if it does go 3 here. This is a pretty interesting fight, man. I think Hassan is probably the little better fighter. Definitely better on the feet, I think. More athletic.
Racist.
bigger piece, of course.
Price might have more tools, though.
Nico is tricky, man, and Nico will make fights very ugly. I mean, just watch the Randy Brown fight. I mean, Randy Brown was on top of him and working him over pretty good, man. I mean, he literally knocked out Randy Brown with hammer fist from his back. It's just insane. So Nico likes to dirty it up, man, and if he survives Hassan's onslaught for a round and a half, man, things are going to get very interesting. So I'm leaning towards Hassan in this fight. I'm not going to bet a side here, but I think the fight, the final bill inside the distance is probably worth something in a parlay for sure.
All right, new Sean.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. This is how you should start a pay-per-view with a fight like this. Both guys come to knock each other out, so hopefully that happens. Alhassan fought Homasi in back-to-back fights. It's kind of weird. There was a kind of a weird finish in the first one, but I don't think very much of Homasi, so I don't put too much credence into the back-to-back knockouts. It does show that Alhassan has power. We know that from his absolute string of first-round finishes before he came into the UFC. So Nico Price will definitely have to watch it early. But yeah, like Wes said, if this goes a little bit longer and Price makes it dirty, Alhassan could gas, and that's when Nico Price could take over. I don't really have an edge on this fight. I'll pick Nico Price to dirty it up and get it done a little later.
Okay. I think this is interesting. I agree that this fight's going to end early, or earlier. It's not going to the decision. I think Price has more tools in the chest. He can do a little bit of everything. Fights dirtier. Kind of makes it a grindy kind of a fight. He has that skill set. Alhassan's more flash. So I think I'm going to lean towards Price here, but I think this is one of the harder fights to pick on the card. I just would expect fireworks and some sort of violent finish. So I'm looking forward to this one. Next fight up, big bout in the women's strawweight division. Jessica, the Berserker Andrade, taking on Poland's second sister, Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Wes, is this going to be a one-sided mauling, or does the Polish fighter have a shot here?
Sadly, I'm kind of leaning towards the latter. I'm a big Kowalkiewicz fan. I think she's just a great fighter, dude. There's not many women's MMA fighters that's got the skills of her or Andrade for that matter. These are two really, really good fighters. I just think, man, Andrade's game, the way she fights, is just going to be bad for Karolina here. Just that bulldog style. She's going to come forward. I don't think she's going to give Karolina any kind of space to get off her, just great strikes. She's got really good striking in boxing, but she needs a little space to get that going. And I don't think Karolina can win this fight in the clinch with Andrade. And man, if she gets taken down and gets on her back, she's in a lot of trouble. So yeah, I like Andrade here. I could see Andrade possibly getting a finish in this fight, just pouring on maybe some ground and pound late in the third round. So I might look at something inside the distance. It's a little too steep for me to put her in a parlay or anything. It's still women's MMA against two really good fighters. So minus 430 is just a little steep for me, but possibly look at something inside the distance. Andrade is definitely going to be the pick for me here, though.
Okay. New Sean.
I obviously like Andrade here. I took her by TKO for half a unit at plus 500. I thought that line was a bit high. Her likely way of win is going to be by decision, but I think there might be a shot that, like Wes said, maybe she batters Carolina up on the feet, takes her down, and just smashes her on the ground. Carolina likes that kind of long, rangy fight, and Andrade just does not roll that way. She gets inside, throws hooks to the body. She's basically the female Lineker, throws to the body, throws to the head, comes in raging. And she,
raging hot.
But she ain't no chicken.
Yeah. She's a little better than that. And then she even mixes in takedowns since she's kind of dropped down to this weight. So I think Carolina's kind of in trouble here. Andrade is definitely going to have to get inside and do what she does. So I'm expecting her to put it on her. Hopefully she can get a finish, but probably gets a little bit of a wider decision.
Yeah, the problem here is for Kavljevic is that we've seen some things from Kavljevic in the past with grappling issues. When Goodell, I think it's going to be kind of like the Goodell fight where Andrade is going to kind of like take her to the mat. Like she'll try for a takedown, and once she's on the mat, I mean, I think Kavljevic has a lot of trouble. I just think she's rather novice on the mat and doesn't have any answers there. I mean, I like Kavljevic too. I like her endurance, but she's facing a power puncher and hurt itself that when it's just kind of like, you know, pillow punches. And I mean, Kavljevic can win, with her volume, which is awesome. But this is a different kind of bout.
Like the worst possible matchup for her, honestly. Like,
yeah, it really is. I mean, it's basically Goodella 2.0. It's a better version of Goodella at this point, and that's really the gist. The next fight seems like it's kind of more like an exhibition more than a real fight. We got the dude Zabit taking on Brandon Davis. I don't know. I guess Davis is the only one who was willing to take this matchup.
Yeah,
right. That's what happened here. All right, Wes, give me a quick.
Zabit by destruction. Him inside the distance, but it worries me a little because Zabit likes to, I think, show skills and sometimes doesn't go in for the kill as much. Maybe he will this time, but I will have his points handicap and something. It's going to be juice, but he'll cover the points handicap for sure.
All right, new Sean. I assume you're thinking more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, this is a late notice fight for Brandon Davis. He's the only one that put up his hand to get destroyed, so that's the way she goes. This is going to be his fourth fight in 2018, so that's 4 weight cuts. That's 4 fights that a couple of them haven't went his way, so I know Zabit does kind of mess around, does some stylish shit that doesn't always work to finish, but fight doesn't go to the decision is minus 195. It's the only prop out right now just because this is such a late notice fight. So that's something that I might have to take a look at. I might just wait for the rest of them to come out and take Zabit inside. Because you'll probably get it at like minus 180, 185.
180, like 180,
yeah. So I don't know. I might as well just play that. Yeah. So I still got to decide on that. But this should be destruction. Zabit is so talented. He's striking, grappling. He does it all, and this is the poor guy that's gonna go across from him. So. Zabit did gas a bit at the end from after just absolutely beating the shit out of Kyle Bochniak. So that was a little bit worrisome, but I think that's just like you punch a guy enough in the head and the body and he doesn't go down, you're going to get tired. I don't know what the hell Kyle Bochniak is made of for him to be able to stay in that fight, but I don't think Brandon Davis is going to have as much fortitude to stay in there this time.
All right, so my thing with Zabit is I still like to see him. I mean, this is kind of weird. I'd like to see him get hit before.
He did get hit. He kind of got rocked, didn't he?
I mean, Davis can hit harder though, so you kind of need to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a line like, okay, I want to throw Zabit in a parlay. Like, I mean, this seems like a bit of a stretch for him to be a 12 or 13-1 favorite. Just kind of. I mean, he wasn't as dominant in the Bochniak fight as he probably could have been.
Davis
And
ain't Bosniak, though.
I
Like,
know.
Davis is kind of terrible, dude. Like, seriously.
Not great.
He's tough, but he's fucking pretty terrible, man.
But he does throw some,
Bosniak,
right?
Yeah, he does.
That's the only worry. But I mean, Zabit is super talented. He's clearly one of the most talented guys in this weight class. You could even make a case that he's the third best fighter in this weight class already. And if he's not, he's right there. We'll see. Maybe not third, but fourth. I mean, top five for sure. I mean, in terms of talent, I mean, up there with Aldo and Stevens, and I guess below Holloway and Ortega. I mean, he's not far off from the first two guys I mentioned. So we'll see. But I'll take Zabit, and hopefully someone will finally step up, and a legitimate fighter will face him. I can only imagine if they do Aldo versus Zabit at some point, that will be a banger.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's get crazy.
No,
Let's get
don't
crazy.
tease me don't tease me like that, Jay. God damn. I think it moved. Jerry, I think it moved.
Did you feel something?
I think it moved, Jerry.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I should be the matchmaker. Who are we kidding here? I mean, jeez. I always come up with some bangers. So let's see what happens. Next fight up, I think this is, I don't know if I can say it, I think it is, and probably will be for a long time, the biggest champion underdog in UFC history.
Mm-hmm.
Nico Montano is 1,000 to 1 or 10 to 1 underdog rather to Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah,
Hey,
right?
she's minus Shevchenko's minus 1,300, so Montano is plus 850 at the moment.
Woof, plus 850. Woof. This would be her first title defense and her only title defense. Wes, give me a quick breakdown of this destruction.
Yeah, the line is just absolutely right. It might even be off by a few dollars, honestly.
Yeah.
I do know if you could take one guess though, over under 0.5 that we know somebody that's going to take a shot on Nico Montano. And we'll post it and we'll post it and sell it.
And then delete it?
yeah, probably. Oh shit.
You can on Cap Protect. Bet MMA. whatever the Twitter nerds are using right now. I'm not up on the tracking game. Sorry. Because we're tracking picks for what purpose again? What is the objective of the tracker?
To turn tout once you
That
hit
is
a streak.
the only reason to track publicly your plays is that you care enough about what other people think of your bets and your things. I'm out there for every fucking Twitter nerd that is listening to this show or has listened to this show and will listen to the show again. The only reason to publicly, quote-unquote, track your picks, bets, any of that stuff, I shouldn't say, no, specifically to track your bets, the whole unit size thing, all that, to publicly do that is that one day your hope is that you can make money off someone giving you money for your advice. That is the only reason. Any other reason to do that doesn't make sense. Do it on your own time. Look, I get it. I completely get managing your money. I completely get wanting to track things for your own purposes to see, you can look back and see, well, I do poorly when I bet underdogs, or I do well when I bet fighters who miss weight, or I do well when I bet fighters to go to decision that, weren't, from an odds perspective, we're supposed to go to decision, whatever the reason may be. But the only reason to share all that information publicly is that you want a pat on the back and for someone to eventually put money into your wallet. Find another job. Seriously.
What's even more fucked up is it usually take you. It used to take you doing that for about a year. Now motherfuckers do that for like a month and then turn around and start selling shit.
Time to start selling.
Yep, exactly, dude. Like motherfuckers at least used to do that shit for a year or so,
Now that don't even bet fights. They're literally touting their daily fantasy plays. That's the new thing.
Or write-ups.
They're
selling write-ups.
Hey, exactly. I mean, look, it's the same shit. Who are we kidding here? If the only people that feel the need to sell bets are ones that don't have enough money to make bets. That is the only reason. If your bets are that good, you don't want other people betting the same stuff. Then they move the line. Exactly, because you never know that if it gets
the great Eddie G says, if you're that good, there's no reason to go tout.
Never, ever. Or find another job that's more stable. It's okay. I mean, like, you're allowed to leave your house. It's perfect.
If you want to stay at home all day, motherfucker, do customer service for AT&T or something. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, good rant. Good
maybe we should give out for the Twitter nerds. Valentina Shevchenko straight.
That'd be $7.99, motherfuckers.
That's a winner. $99, folks. $99. I'll give you a deal.
These motherfuckers run around betting $50 a bet and shit.
I'll give you this, and I'll give you Peter Yan in his next fight. I'll give you both. I'm giving them out for free here, people. Giving them out for free. Okay? You got a problem with that?
Jay over here watching fucking Novak snorting shit up his nose on a tennis court, and he's just fucking on rants.
Let me keep looking. Let me give out some more winners. Let me keep looking. Yep, we'll give you Peter Yan against something called Jinsu Sun in 2 weeks, okay? I'm giving you that one. Let me keep looking. Let me see if there's anything else we'll give out here tonight.
If you feel like it, you'll give him a 500 word write-up on why you should play Peter Yan in 70 of your lineups.
You know what? I think that's all I'm going to give tonight. That's all I'm giving. I'm giving you Valentina Shevchenko and Peter Yan. Put that one. These are the Jay's locks. Okay, these are my locks.
Good rant, Jay. Love it.
You need it, guys. This is Twitter nerd type stuff. There are no better bets in the next. There aren't. They're not losing. It's great. You don't have to pay $7 for it or whatever someone's charging these days. And people, what is with people charging all these stupid numbers? How about $11? How does that sound to you? You know what I get for $11? Not much. I'm lucky. I can get half a pizza.
You can buy 2 cups of Starbucks, or you can get these Stone Cold locks, motherfucker.
Right, they're cold. They're cold brewed locks. Shit, I gotta go to happy hour. I can't really get. I mean, that's the only way I'm gonna get it. That's the only way I'm gonna get a buzz out of this effect. Holy cow! Can't get that at regular prices for $11. Anyway, all right. Tell me something. Who's up? Nobody. Is anybody else?
Did you go?
Yeah. Let me catch my breath. That's as funny as Jay's been in like fucking couple years on this motherfucker, ain't it? Holy shit, Jay.
That's the longest I've going somewhere.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good rant. That was a good one. Yeah, so we was talking about lines. I think this is actually maybe a couple dollars short on Shevchenko here. Most people don't watch Tough anymore, but you do have the Twitter nerds that like to do their fight study, their fight tape study. So I'm sure they've gone back and watched Montano, and I mean she's just not that good. I mean worst champion in UFC history. It's got to be like right up there. So
you don't need to see 5 Nico Montano fights to realize she's not as good as Valentina Shevchenko. You really don't. There's nothing you need to see here. There's nothing you need to see here.
I did not have to go back and watch King of the Cage Evolution. I just didn't have to do that, Bets on this card for me. I think Shevchenko trucks, man. So I'm going to take the points handicap in a parlay or two, and I like her inside the distance, man. The fight inside the distance, I believe, is priced a little bit less. So you might as well take that. But I just don't see how there's any way she doesn't smash her and finish Montano. We're going to look back on this fight and wonder how in the world that they ever put a belt around Nico Montano. So Shevchenko by destruction. Oh, and I will point out.
Your parlay.
There was an MMA blogger that will go on there.
Blogger.
That put out a fucking write-up this week about why Nico Montano was going to win this fight. And
Stop it.
That's right up there with the Diego Sanchez future champion. Like, we had two great nuggets out of the MMA blogger community this week.
New Sean.
So,
possibly, listen to me. How could you ever put your money on a fighter whose last knockout was against something called Jamie Milanowski at I guess that's King of the Cage Social Disorder. Social Disorder. That's when she last finished an opponent at something called King of the Cage Social Disorder in some place called Sloan, Iowa. Was that where they taped Field of Dreams, Wes? What the hell is this?
That's on an Indian reservation. That's them fighting on an Indian reservation.
Of course it is.
Oh man, this is insane.
King
of the Cage Social Disorder.
What else, dude? Like, we done wrecked this motherfucker.
Man, hell has frozen over. I bet this fight does not go decision. So on this fight card, I have bet 3 women's fights to not go decision. This is surely going to end well for me.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, exactly.
I think a couple of them.
Exactly. So at least you'll be coming down in flames with me, Wes. But yeah, this is going to be all Shevchenko. I think she can sub her. I think she can ground and pound her out. It's not going to matter. This is a landslide. Even if Montano got way better since going to a tough decision against Roxanne Martifari, she is not even close to Shevchenko. I would be really surprised if this fight doesn't go, if it goes the distance. Doesn't go the distance, minus 125 for 1 unit.
Did anyone see this picture that Jedi Goodman put up of Rafael dos Anjos? Is that really him?
Who put that up?
Jedi Goodman.
I quit following that guy. That's the guy that steals our gimmicks.
Yeah,
Look at the picture. Look at the picture.
RDA. What's
is that really him
or what? Oh yeah, that's him.
I don't know. Is the whole like
the goatee
thing? Yeah, it looks.
He looks like he's ready to fucking do your brakes.
The mechanic right there.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Motherfucker ready to change your oil and shit.
This is funny.
Yeah, he's looking a little old.
Yeah, he's looking old. Anyway, I think I've said enough about this bout. This is a mismatch. Shevchenko's going to run over her. I feel bad for Montano because, I mean, I don't wait because she got the opportunity to win the UFC. Obviously, not many people have the opportunity to do that, especially professional fighters in this sport. It's a very limited crowd, but the reality is that if the UFC really did a proper tournament with fighters that were already in the organization, not some sort of tough gimmick to give the title, she never would have gotten close to the title in the first place. Yep. I mean, I rate her as a B- caliber fighter, and she's fighting an A+ level talent, a woman that I feel is probably a top 3 fighter in women's MMA. I mean, after Cyborg, I mean, you could even make a case that she's number 2. I mean, I think I thought that she beat Amanda Nunes. I know other people don't. I mean, either way, it was super close. And that was a weight class up from what she's fighting at currently. She's clearly the best fighter at 125 pounds. I mean, she's the full package. I mean, she's a brutal striker, one of the best in the sport, and she's proven to have a grappling game that can go along with it. She's vicious. Montano's in deep water, and she's gonna get finished in this bout. That's just the reality of it, and that's worth a bet at minus What is it, 155, new Sean?
It is minus 155.
That is our bet of the week. Valentina Shevchenko via finish, via demolition.
Drink
Minus
that juice.
155. That's right. And
Tastes
now
good.
we have our main event. We have the guy who doesn't want to be anywhere near his children, doesn't believe that he should talk to them. She's going to talk to them. Shouldn't have a relationship with them because that's really normal. I don't know what the hell he did in Brazil. I can only imagine. One of these days I'm going to ask around and try to get an opinion, but I don't know if I care enough. Against Missouri's finest, or second finest, because I think we should give that to Ben Askren. So I'll say second finest. Tyron Woodley. Interesting. I think this might be a rare fight where people actually want Woodley to win. Yeah. Maybe the only time people want Woodley to win.
Yep. Except the Twitter nerds, MMA Twitter nerds.
Here we are again. The douchers, the Twitter nerds got to go against the run. They got to go against the grain. They got to be different. They got to be there and say, we were the ones who bet on this guy to win the title. We were first in line. Okay, if you say so. Okay, Twitter nerds. I'll let Wes go. He's not a Twitter nerd. Who's winning this fight?
Shout out Sanford. Big day one fans. I think this is another one of those fights, man, that we look back and it seems like we say it a lot now. We're going to be like, holy shit, we got Tyron Woodley at plus money against this motherfucker. Like, I think Darren Till's he's good, man, but I mean, just look closely at his record and what he's beat over the past couple years, man, and it's not much. And he lost to Stephen Thompson. I don't care who you bet in that fight. He fucking lost to Stephen Thompson, and I mean, just to even take all the the breaking down the fight and everything, like, this dude literally has a life and death weight cut that he has to go through before he even steps in the ring. Tyron Woodley, and that matters, man. I mean, the stories coming out of that last weight cut when, I mean, they're talking about his anus sucking up the lube and shit off of stuff like this man, like, goes through life and death on a weight cut. He's going to have to do it again. We don't even know if he's going to make weight. I mean, that's still up in the air with Darren Till at this weight class, and that's just the fact of the matter at this point. Then he still has to fight, and I'm pretty shocked that Woodley's becoming a dog to Darren Till in this fight. Till coming off arguably a loss to Wonder Boy, beating a guy. Whatever you think about Cerrone at this point in his career, you could tell in that fight, Cerrone wasn't there, man. That dude wasn't there to fight. He was there to get a check that night. However you feel he's at in his career. And before that, I mean, Till's beaten absolutely nothing in this game. So I think Woodley's gonna catch him with something. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes 5 rounds. It wouldn't shock me. It is fucking Tyron Woodley, but I think Tyron Woodley's gonna knock him out here. And I mean, I've been holding off a little bit. I played a little bit of even money. But I'm holding off to put more on Woodley, but I will be adding more because it seems like he's going to end underdog in this fight, which is pretty crazy to me. I think he knocks out Darren Till.
All right, new Sean, give me your thoughts on the main event here.
The great white hype train has come to the station. I think people are trying to turn Darren Till into Conor McGregor. They think he's this unbelievable guy, and he talks a bit of shit, and nobody can really understand him, so I don't know how much that's getting through. But that was a close fight against Thompson. I thought Thompson won. I just don't get this line. I bet Tyron Woodley when the line first came out at minus 150. So
thought you was getting that steal, right?
I didn't expect this to happen, but shit happens. But like Wes said, Darren Till has not faced anybody. He fought Cerrone that was a shell of himself, who's a 155er. He somehow supposedly beat Stephen Thompson. And then he's beaten a bunch of no-namers. I know people hate on Tyron Woodley, but he wins. I mean, he crushed Robbie Lawler. I know that was a while ago at this point. And then I think he had the kind of boring fights against Stephen Thompson, but he was still able to drop Stephen Thompson and almost finish him in both of his fights. Darren Till definitely did not do that.
Up close to that, not yet.
Yeah, and there have been some weird style matchups the last bunch of fights for Woodley. Obviously, he didn't want to go to ground against Maia. He probably should have knocked out Maia. That's fair. And then Stephen Thompson's is always a kind of a weird puzzle to deal with. In this fight, I expect Darren Till to come forward and make it a fight, and that's not really a good thing to do against Tyron Woodley. If you come into his zone, he's gonna land one on you. These guys have definitely both been to a bunch of decisions lately, so I don't know if Woodley's gonna be able to knock him out. But with that brutal weight cut, if this gets extended, I don't think Darren Till's gonna be able to last 5 rounds if Woodley is putting up a fight against him. I know some people think that Woodley gasses. That's not really the case. He's an elite athlete, and I really do expect him to knock out Darren Till. But maybe the Twitter nerds will get one right this time.
Jay, he's just throwing just darts tonight.
I don't have much. I mean,
Twitter nerds are worse than Canadian MMA.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news for you guys because I think it's going to be a little different. I just think that my problem here is that I want this to be an exciting fight. I mean, Till has the capability to turn this into an exciting fight, but just his last fight against Stephen Thompson and then just some of the staring contests we've seen from Tyron Woodley, I think it's going to be two guys who are, they know each guy has a potential kill shot and they're going to be sensitive or they're just going to be cautious. Yeah. Cautious is the right word in this bout, and I think it's going to go deep. I mean, I think it might even go to a decision. It's plus 110. It's not worth the price. I was hoping it was going to be at least close to 200. I don't think that's a good price plus 110, just because both guys have so much power. But I don't know. I think it's going to be some tough to score rounds because.
Not much happens.
Not much happens. It's gonna be it's gonna be a fight that you're hoping it's gonna be really good, and it's gonna end up being a dud. Unlike some of the other fights on this main card, which I think could be really exciting, you're gonna get a dud of a main event. I hate to say that, but I think that's
Woodley wins either way. Woodley wins either way.
You know what? Perfectly okay with that. But we'll see what happens. I hope I'm wrong, and we see some fireworks and. Woodley scores a couple takedowns, wins a couple rounds, and then we'll see. I'd love to see him knock out Till, I really would, but I don't know. Like I said,
we've had some juju against the MMA Twitter nerds lately, Jay. So
yeah, that's right. Let's get some anti-Twitter nerd action going on here.
There we go.
Hope for the best. Anyway, that just about does it. I think I've said enough for this show.
Yeah.
I hope you get.
We've been away for a while. We had a lot to say.
Yeah, had a lot to say. So
good to be back.
All good. Anyway, folks, enjoy the fights. We got one of my favorite.
Lay the juice next weekend with Peter Yan.
Can't wait. Shit. I wish
Peter Yan.
Yes, let's do it. We'll be back next weekend. We got one of my favorite fight cards of the year. Moscow, baby, Russia. Woo!
Stay there, Jay.
It's a Russian MMA. All right. Enjoy the fights, and we'll see you next week.